All right. I hope you had success inserting some documents into your collection and using the built-in validations. Now I want to talk a little bit more about the basic functionality of our collections. So, put here 7 basic collection operations. There are 5 main things you'll do with the collection. The first thing you will do is insert. Inserting is what you do when you want to add something new. Well, we should say add a new document into the collection. So that's adding a new restaurant. You can update, which is change one or more of the fields on an existing document. We can also do a remove, which means delete an existing document. And we can do 2 more things, which basically pertain to, we know how to insert, update, and remove a document, but what if we want to read those documents later? So there are 2 function calls that we will use in order to do that. The first one is going to be find. And find grabs every document for that collection that pass the filter. So I said here that pass the filter. Basically, if we don't want to read every single document in our collection, we can say, hey, only give me documents that are, so let's say with our restaurant example, we could say, only give us restaurants that are of the style Mexican, right? Or the style Italian. But I'm going to delete that for now because I don't want us to get too wrapped up into that. So really just think about find returns a list of documents off a certain collection. So if we say restaurants.find, we should see every restaurant object we've created. So if I go in here into my console, we could say restaurants.find, and normally this call will just work inside your code. But if we wanted to print out the values right now, instead of like waiting for them to come in to our code normally, we just have to add this extra line on .fetch right here. Don't worry too much about why you have to say .fetch. Just know that restaurants.find is going to return every single restaurant. So if we do restaurants.find, and you can see we had 1 restaurant object that was created. Now if we insert a second restaurant object, let me blow this up. Like name, it's food. Average cost is $2, and the style, in this case, we'll do Italian. And then if we insert that, and now we say restaurants.find, you'll see here's an array of our 2 restaurant objects. So find returns a list. It grabs every document in that collection. If we say find 1, that grabs a single document. So if you don't tell it which document you're looking for, it will default to grabbing the first one. So if we say restaurants dot find 1, it automatically grabs the first item from the collection that it finds. Cool. So these 5 operations are extremely important. You should commit this to memory. Do whatever works for you. Do flashcards, tattoo this on the back of your hand. But this is extremely important. And frequently when people approach me with questions about what they should be doing on their app, my first question to you will be, what collection operation are you doing? because you're always trying to basically do one of these 5 things. You're always trying to insert a new document, update an existing document, remove a document, find a list of documents, or find one specific document. 9 out of 10 times you are trying to do one of those 5 actions. So you should commit those actions to memory. And whenever you're not sure what to do, the way you should be thinking about your app is you should think, okay, I'm doing something, I have these collections of data. Somehow the actions I do are going to change those collections of data. And whenever I want to change those collections, or in the case of find, just read them, I'm going to do one of these operations. So maybe the change the collections isn't the right description, but you always start from your data collections first. You're always going to be, oh, I want to read this items off this collection, or I want to change items on this collection, or I want to delete some item. That's always what you're going to be doing. So whenever you're confused, the first thing I'm going to ask is, are you inserting, updating, or removing a collection item? And then if you're not, it's going to be, well, are you trying to find an existing item, right? And so you'll typically use one of these 5 things when you interact with your collections. So if that's confusing or you're not totally clear, it's about time we started using the documentation. So go over to meteor.com, click on Docs, and as soon as that loads, here on the left, go down to collections. Here you can read about collections, and we'll kind of give you some examples of what they look like. And they also have descriptions for all of those options I just said. So we've got find one, finds the first document that matches the selector. Oh, well, what could the selector be? Well, right here, they actually give you an example to say, well, find an object that has a certain post ID. So we'll automatically find the post document with that post ID. You could even add multiple things. So you could say, find one post document that has this for the created by field. And here they're basically just doing a little query saying, find something that has the word first in it. And so it would match the document you have right here. So if you're confused about how these 5 things work, head on over to the docs. You see we've got find, one, find, insert, update, remove, those 5 options right here, and read the documentation on these things. Documentation is your best friend, and it's the most reliable way for you to remind yourself of things as well as figure out what sort of challenges you might be having. So go ahead, read through the docs, talk to some other people, make sure you feel comfortable that you're understanding what these 5 different operations are.